All right, hey, Shelley Meyer here, and I got to see Mekka Don perform live his new hit, Buckle Up, and it's awesome. I know there are high expectations for this season. Listen, I've been there, I'm used to that, but this might be it, and that song is going to carry the team all the way through the season.
Mekka Don, Buckeye Nation. It's time.
Once he hit the bridge, I was like, okay, now we're serious. Buckle up, bitches. It's OSU. We're here to dominate. Certified banger.
The man did it in 2014 with Juice, did it again in 2024 with Buckle Up. I'm telling you, if this guy puts out an anthem, bank on it.
Anytime you're in the city, you know you're going to hear Buckle Up, man.
Ohio has birthed so much great talent over the years. And not just Buckeyes, but greats from all walks of life.
I am Chukwuemeka Nnamdi Onyejekwe. My first and last name mean thank God for a miracle. I was born in Columbus, Ohio at Riverside Hospital. My parents came to Columbus, Ohio in the early 70s from Nigeria, straight to Ohio State. I'm the youngest of 4 kids, so I had 3 older siblings. My brother was very inspirational in my life. He's probably the one that got me into music. And then my 2 sisters were, in some ways my caretakers. To this day, they still treat me like the baby.
Mekka Don's first love was soccer, something his family knew he was special at very early in his life.
It started with soccer, with the Bears, Upper Arlington Bears. If you were a fan, I was going to defeat you because I was going to be louder. And then Mekka fed off of that. He's like, bam, he scored it, bam, he scored a goal, bam, he scores a goal. Like, pew, and he scores a goal, pew, he scores a goal.
Yeah, so growing up, I played four sports growing up. I had great examples. Again, like I said, my uncle who was in my house went and played Division I soccer. Soccer was my big sport growing up. So I had that in my household to look up to.
Mekka Don loves sports, but he also took an early liking to music.
Man, in my household, there was music playing all the time. Both of my parents, my uncle and aunties, my brothers and sisters, there's all kinds of music. I believe I was breakdancing for people in the neighborhood when I was 4 years old, I think I developed a interest in rhyming when I was probably like 8 years old. But it was really in high school when my brother, he wanted to form a band. And so he ended up buying a whole bunch of equipment. I don't know how he could afford it. I think he put it on some credit card. And bought a whole bunch of equipment and brought it home to the basement. And we actually formed a band called Kush. And he was the lead guitarist and the lead singer. My cousin was the bass player. I was the drummer. And we played all different types of music. We were playing, hip hop. We were playing hip rock, fusion. We were playing all different types of music. And through that time period, I think that was the time that really, truly birthed me as a musician, someone who really wanted to participate beyond just like as a hobby.
Loving music wasn't enough though, and Mekka Don learned the hard way early.
My cousin and I, we performed at a talent show at Ohio State when I was a freshman in college, I believe. And it was an Apollo-style talent show, and we got booed off the stage. And I never forget that day because it was, at the time it was hurtful, right? Because it was, you don't want to get booed off the stage. It's embarrassing. There are people there that you think you're good at something and people tell you that you're not right in front of your face, in front of everybody. So that was tough, but it did make me go back to the drawing board and realize, okay, hold on, there are a lot of things a lot of work that I had not put in yet that probably drove that result.
What doesn't kill you will make you stronger. And although fun was definitely a big part of his childhood, Mekka Don grew up in a fairly strict household. And there were plenty of challenges as well.
Education was extremely important in my household. And part of it is because that's what my parents knew. Education was their way to come to the United States on scholarship to the Ohio State University, both of my parents. I viewed my parents, particularly my dad, as strict. Maybe not as much as my siblings did because I was the baby, so I didn't get all the brunt of stuff that they got. But I viewed the household to be strict. I would say some of the challenges that I faced were maybe just trying to figure out who am I in this society. In some ways, my culture was a gift always, but it also created certain challenges because I have the name Chukwu Emeka Onyejekwe, right? That is a clear Nigerian name. And there are some people that would make fun of that.
Challenges aren't always a bad thing, as they help shape our character. After a windy soccer career and state championship, Mekka Don decided to play football his senior year of high school. That decision changed his life forever.
So my senior year, I ended up going out for the football team and, starting in the summer. And, obviously made the team and started at wide receiver there. And we had an amazing season. We went on to win the states that year. I ended up getting a full ride academic scholarship to Ohio State. And, obviously Ohio State is, in my blood. Everybody in my family went to Ohio State before me. Everybody, literally. And some for multiple degrees. So that was a blessing. And then my uncle had sent my tape and my highlight tape from football into, I think it was Coach Conley back then, who was recruiting coordinator at Ohio State. And Coach Conley saw the tape and got back to us and invited me to come to be a preferred walk-on at Ohio State. I was like, what is happening? This is crazy. How did this even happen? Now I'm about to be an Ohio State football player?
They call it the brotherhood. So it's not a shock that playing football at Ohio State was a pivotal moment for Mekka Don.
I think that experience influenced my identity so much because I think I felt the power of what it meant to be an Ohio State football player.
Mekka Don would soon have to start preparing for life after football, graduating cum laude from The Ohio State University.
One of the things that was always important to me, even while I was playing football, again, you have to remember I'm there on an academic scholarship. So I have academic responsibilities if I want to keep this scholarship. And so that was something that I had to balance. And, it got to a point where I didn't think I was going to be able to balance them both indefinitely. Education was extremely important to me at that point. And I also knew that, I wanted to pursue other things. I wanted to make sure that I put myself in the best position to continue my education. And particularly, I wanted to go to law school.
Although Mekka Don had never lived anywhere outside of Ohio, he took the leap to New York to attend law school at NYU.
2 weeks after I graduated college, I moved to New York officially. And that was the first time I'd ever lived anywhere else besides Columbus, Ohio. So I was basically there, like a fish out of water, and I knew that if I was gonna meet people and make a name for myself, I was gonna pretty much have to do it on my own. Some of my early experiences in New York, it was culture shock, right? Because although I had been there, it wasn't like my first time being there and my first time traveling. It was different when you live there, right? And the hustle and bustle of New York is truly a city that doesn't sleep. That first semester of law school, I always tell people it was kind of like intellectual boot camp.
Outside of law school, Mekka Don's hustle in New York would eventually land him in music videos, ads, TV shows, commercials, and more.
So I started to, go out and get into the nightclub scene and, started to promote parties as well. So that brought a little bit of income as well. So I was hustling, man. I was figuring out my way through the industry.
We are chilling with Mario.
What's up, all hip hop, man? We're at Nikki Beach right now. As you can see, the beautiful women are everywhere.
And this D Ward, number 34 running back for the Super Bowl champs, New York Giants, baby. 2007, 2008 Super Bowl champions. We're doing it big in Nikki Beach. My boy Mekka Don put this party on. Look at the crowd. Just look at it.
I was in so much stuff. I was in so many music videos, the big names. And it was amazing for me because that experience to this day is one of those experiences were some of the experiences I still draw on when I'm putting together my own projects and then creating those relationships. Outside of music videos, I was also in commercials. I did a couple MTV commercials. I was in the Dave Chappelle show, in a classic episode, the Blacks versus the Denims, Gang Wars. I'm sure people have all seen that one.
These opportunities were fun and would prove to be foundational later in Mekka Don's career. But he still had a job to do: finish law school and pass the New York bar.
So I finished law school in 3 years, which is standard. Law school is 3 years unless you're going part-time. Took the bar right away. in New York.
After passing the New York bar and working at a top 10 law firm in New York City, Mekka Don did the unthinkable.
My heart was always in music. I made a drastic decision that, you know, to this day, people think I'm crazy for making. And so I finally decided that I was gonna leave that firm. And I remember carrying my box out of that office and looking around kind of like, you know, Will Smith was looking around in Fresh Prince, you know, when nobody was left. I'm like, wow, I really did this.
As expected, there was little to no support for this move.
There were some blogs that came out, I remember, where people were going, saying, this dude is crazy, this dude is this, he's that. Like, people are like, Mekka, don't open this thread. It's that bad. Like, the stuff people are saying about you, don't open it. And to this day, I haven't opened some of the ones that they told me not to open. So it backfired in some ways, and I became a joke to a lot of people. So there was no love anywhere, right? So it was a very lonely period of time. And a period of time where, again, I'm trying to still find and define myself as an artist. Who am I? What do I have to offer? What are my experiences? How am I gonna actually get this done? I didn't have backing of a record label or, a big investor or anything like that.
Get this, he gave up a career as a lawyer, making more than 6 figures in New York City, and he gave it all up for music. Now, who does that?
With little to no support from anywhere, no major label, and limited funds, Mekka Don needed to find himself, and fast.
And so I had to start the process. And so it was rough. And during that time, I had to start figuring out, what is it that I'm good at in music? What is it? What are my connecting points?
We're watching your whole transition throughout music. Right. Because you work with different forms of music all the way through. Right. To come to now that you're doing rap. Right. So that the fact that you understand music in its full spectrum, it should be easy for you to make that transition for people to give people a better understanding of music.
What are the things, where's an entry point for me, particularly as an independent artist? And what I remembered was kind of my roots in sports. And my energy as an artist. People always commented on my energy. You're such high energy, you have great energy. So I was like, you know what, I could probably make anthems. I could probably make sports anthems.
Mekka Don's first break would come from ESPN after an introduction to the music supervisor.
And I have some music and he would love to share it with you. And he's like, yeah, send it over. He listened to the music, he was like, this is great. That fall, I had a 4-song licensing deal with ESPN. They licensed 4 of my songs for college football season.
After Mekka Don's ESPN success, MTV Best Freshman Award, and other achievements, he was summoned back to Ohio State to make officially licensed anthems for the school.
And so from that situation, I ended up being essentially recruited back to Ohio State. And that's when I was able to write the song Juice.
I can't remember where we were or what we did. It was probably, partying at that time in our life. But he handed me like 4 t-shirts and they had Juice on them. And I was like, what is this? Tell me about it. And Mekka goes into his ideas and his mindset around Juice and what he wanted to accomplish with Juice. And I just remember, watching him and observing him, getting his partnerships with Ohio State.
The 2014 Buckeyes football season had a lot of juice, and Buckeye Nation was here for it.
Oh, Mekka Don's song Juice brought the juice. Because at first the stadium was dead until we got a little bass in the speakers and Mekka Don had the juice going, so we had to keep the juice.
When I first heard Juice, I thought, this is pretty inspirational. This captures what the Buckeyes are. It was a song that gave that team inspiration. It gave the Buckeyes inspiration. It gave fans inspiration. It gave fans something to cheer about.
After we beat Wisconsin 59-0, there was still some discrepancies whether we were going to get in the playoffs or not. I remember sitting on my couch with a couple of the guys waiting to see who was going to be selected number 4. And they put us versus Alabama. And after that, it was history. We knew we had to lock in, and we knew whoever won that game versus Ohio State versus Alabama, they were going to win the national championship.
The 2014 Buckeyes would ride Mekka Don's juice all the way to a national championship. A decade later, in 2024, the question was, could Mekka Don do it again?
What are you up to?
Going to the studio, about to record Buckeye Anthem.
And why now?
I think a lot of Buckeye fans like me are sick of people talking. I think we know what's coming, and I think it's time to put up or shut up. So, buckle up. I remember I took my son to the studio with me to go record, and he was so excited. I think that was the first time he actually been to the studio with me to record, and the recording session went really well. After we got the song back, I was like, this is the one. This song is gonna do something big. At that time, it was almost a prophecy. It wasn't just your traditional hype song, just like, yeah, get hype, go Bucks, yeah. No, this was buckle up, we're going for a ride, we're going to the top. I can see the future, we're like that. This is our day. These are the lyrics in the actual song. This is our time, and it's time for a run. These are the lyrics. I was projecting what I believe was going to happen.
Buckle Up would turn into an officially licensed Ohio State product.
So the lyrics, I think, were inspired by two things. And I think in some ways, it was almost like me talking to myself as a fan, but me also talking to Buckeye Nation. Like, let's go. Like, now is the time. We have everything we need. We have the coaches. We have the players, the seniors and the leadership. We have the transfers. We have the freshmen. We have the program, And we also have the heartache.
Mekka Don knew early fan support would be key to the success of Buckle Up.
So when having the support of the people, it is the most amazing part of this whole journey. And it also makes you feel validated as an artist. Shout out to my guy, Kevin Griffin. Shout out to Karen Dertinger. Shout out to the licensing department. So after it was licensed and then we, released the video, I mean, the messages, the texts, the tweets, the Facebook messages, the posts, it was nuts, the type of response that we got. It was unbelievable, overwhelming response that just, to this day, I still go back and look at some of those messages and feel pride in.
I think it was just the excitement of the community. I mean, everybody was coming together. It was almost a rallying cry. I think it was more than just about a song, more than just about the team. I think it was about the community.
I was buckled up. I heard my nephew come up with this thing that was common everyday usage of language. But that's what makes the things magical, because the phrase, the statement, buckle up, you can use it anywhere. You can use it in anything. Life is going to shake you, and you just buckle up.
The Buckle Up movement gathered steam quickly. Fans were excited about the prospects of a championship season. Before the season began, Mekka Don partnered with the Ohio State Team Shop to release official merchandise.
The song was released, and the energy behind the song and the video was so crazy in Buckeye Nation. We also got in contact with Ohio State Team Shop legends, and that merchandise collaboration was so amazing because it was released initially online, and then was also set to be sold inside Ohio Stadium, the Horseshoe.
The hype was building, and what would come next would cement Buckle Up in Buckeye football history.
All right, hey, Shelley Meyer here, and I got to see Mekka Don perform live his new hit, Buckle Up, and it's awesome. I know there are high expectations for this season. Listen, I've been there, I'm used to that. But this might be it. And that song is going to carry the team all the way through the season. Congratulations to him, and go Bucks.
I followed Mekka Don on Twitter, and now we got Buckle Up coming up. I'm all for it. This is a season to buckle up because they're coming for you. JT, do work.
Buckle up, baby. Buckeye football season is underway, and the Buckeyes would be running out to Mekka Don's Buckle Up.
You know, it gets the guys going, and you know, when a former player makes a song, you know, you got to show love to it. So I think that's what was so special about that, to go out there. And then we're here too, going into the third quarter, so that just make us lock back in. Like, you go at a halftime, you hear Buckle Up, lock back in. So that's what I'll say about that.
I think it was the second game of the season. After the second game of the season, we had saw some social media posts of Mekka and his son kind of walking down Lane Avenue, excited after another Buckeye win. And that song, Buckle Up, was kind of playing in the background, and he was moving and grooving with his son. And we thought it was exciting.
Buckle Up, it was already, before the season even started, it was already a hit. And so that led to so many different opportunities throughout the season, and media opportunities and features and articles. And it was just amazing to see it catch fire like that. And, you know, I attribute some of that to, you know, the song and the quality of the song, but also just to the hard work, you know, and faith and dedication and what I've been through for decades trying to, you know, do this and make a name for myself, that some of these things were actually coming to fruition.
Mekka Don's talent and perseverance wouldn't go unnoticed.
Buckle Up song was lit. You know, I'll be bumping my head for pregame. So there'll be times, you know, during pregame warm out, I ask my, hey, who playing this right now? Looking cool. So it was good. I enjoyed the song, you know, a good little pregame juice.
Look, Mekka's got a gift for this, and Buckle Up is certainly one of those gifts.
Sports brings us together, and the best part about Buckle Up this season is that it brought us together on a positive note, and it brought us together singing and celebrating at the opportunity that the last time this artist made a song, we won a national championship. This artist decided to make a song. Is there a chance if we sing this loud enough, if we cheer, if we buckle up hard enough, can we win a national championship?
Mekka Don's relationships with current and former players made the ride even more special.
So being an alum, and, you know, being around, around the team and Ohio State football program, obviously got a chance to know some of these guys before this year. But the song, I think, you know, obviously brought me around a lot more. And, you know, now it's a song they're running out to. It creates a kind of a different bond, right? A different relationship. So, you know, you can either see me before or after the game sometimes talking to players or dapping them up, and there's a healthy respect there. And then the other thing is, you know, I'm a mentor as well. You know, I talk to some of those guys about things outside of football, you know, about building their business or their brand, or, you know, that's a common thread between me and that team this year is faith. I really connected to them to this team on a level that I probably hadn't connected to any other team.
Yeah, man, I think that was, you know, our backbone and what we leaned on, you know, through the adversity throughout the season. It was everything to this team. We had a great leadership, you know, through our faith with, you know, Cam Babb and Xavier, who was here a couple years ago, to now we had a Mekka, G, Trey, dudes that, you know, really led the movement for our team and really changed the heart of our team. So I think it meant everything to us.
Yeah, faith to this team, it was amazing. You know, it kind of was a testament to just our hard work and our dedication to the game and to him, and being able to honor him and everything that we did on and off the field. And just having our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ be the foundation, you know, of our hard work and, you know, everything that we do as a team.
Faith would lead Mekka Don to one of the biggest moments of his career.
Hey guys.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Doing well. Nice to meet you.
You as well. Good morning over there. You guys are in LA, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay. All right, cool.
You know, from a production standpoint, it sounds like, you know, Kent seems to be on board in terms of, you know, having obviously having a performance of Buckle Up on you know, on site at our show, which is great. We're really excited about it, man. I mean, look, obviously you know, this is kind of just the next step in blowing up the Mekka Don name for the world to see.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys, and trust me, I'm going to put on a show. All right, that's what I do. So, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Nice meeting you. Nice to meet you, Tiffany and Alyssa.
Yep, great meeting you all. Look forward to working with you.
Yeah, have a great week.
Take care.
Take care.
Man, how do you feel about that?
Man, I'm excited, obviously. Like, that's the number one thing. But in some ways, it's a little emotional, too, because I feel like, you know, as an artist, this is the stage that, you know, we all been fighting for, right? The people who've been in the game for a long time, you know, and you never know if it's going to happen. So just even getting to this point where I'm being considered on this level, this stage, I think is, it's emotional in some ways.
Come on, bro. Yo. Yo.
Yo, what's good?
What's up?
How we doing, bro?
Good, man. What's going on?
Man, I just heard from Fox Big Noon.
Okay. Oh, man.
They won you, dog.
Oh, yeah! Let's go! That's the news. Yes, that's the news I wanted to hear, bro. To the whole thing, the whole performance, everything.
The whole performance, everything.
Oh, man. This is crazy. Man, all right. Yeah, it's time. It's my time. I appreciate you, man. All right, I'll hit you later. Okay, I'll hit you later. Let's go, bro. This really happened, huh?
Believe in you. Believe in yourself. It starts from within. If you believe that, your day will come. The cost of living.
Wow. So Fox Big Noon kickoff. I in my wildest dreams, you know, I dream of that type of opportunity. You know, where I get to perform my music on national television. And when they reached out about performing, I don't want to say I thought it was a joke, but I was like, whoa. This thing is gone to a level that I cannot believe. And then, because you start looking at the other artists, and the last artist that performed the week before me was DJ Khaled and Fat Joe. And then the artist before that was Offset. And the artist before that was Moneybagg Yo. You're like, whoa. Wow, did I really do something significant enough to where I'm being given this same platform as these people that I just mentioned?
We out here in Columbus, right outside the show with my boy Mekka Don, you feel me? The Don himself and hold it down for the Big Noon crew, man.
Yes, sir.
Big vibes, big energy. Appreciate you, my G.
Down and hold. We got to heat out, all right? All right, if you're out, go ahead and step back right now. Step back. 4 push-up. Down. Oh, big man is
Are you ready? I'm ready.
Guys, you ready?
Down. Buckle up, baby. Mekka Don. Guys, Oliver, we in the building. Big Noon kickoff.
Yes. T-shirt time.
The moment was not too big for Mekka Don.
I need you to give it up for former Buckeye athlete turned lawyer, turned actor, and now turned rapper. He is a beast with the song, the man, the myth, the legend, Mekka Don.
Today, as the campus and Ryan Day celebrate the 112th edition of Homecoming,
And it's a homecoming as well for Columbus native, former Buckeye player turned rapper, Mekka Don.
I was ready for that performance. I was ready, man. I mean, there's, you know, people were asking me before, are you nervous? How do you feel? I was like, nah, I'm not nervous. You know, I was not nervous. I was so prepared for that moment. And I went up there and I did my thing. And I have no problem saying that. And my boy Kaz Oliver joined me, and it was great because Kaz and I, we go back decades. That was just a beautiful thing, man. And Buckeye Nation, the way that the fans reacted to it, you know, in the crowd and on social media. Oh my gosh. The messages on social media were crazy.
I thought that was huge, you know, because it was already making waves locally. But when you get on a national platform and when that song rings out and you're talking about millions of football fans across the country seeing this song, and at that time, that was when the momentum of the season was really starting to build. I think that was special.
Mekka Don and Buckle Up were now national. And as the Buckeyes rolled on, it continued to spread like wildfire.
So for Buckle Up, I couldn't believe, all right, so we had the juice. The juice was what? Kind of a lucky charm for the Buckeyes back in 2014. Now we have Buckle Up.
Mekka Don's Buckle Up would turn into a PSA with law enforcement in the state of Ohio.
I kind of set out to do this was that I wanted it to have a meaning that was broader than just football. I wanted it to become something that people could use in their everyday life for inspiration.
Buckle up, buckle up.
Hello, I'm Sheriff Dallas Spaulding. I'm here with my friend, former Buckeye Mekka Don, to remind you to wear your seatbelt.
Like my song says, buckle up. It can mean the difference between life and death.
Statewide, more than 50% of all fatal crashes involve someone not wearing a seatbelt.
Stay safe, Buckeye Nation.
And always remember,
buckle up, buckle up.
That to me was like, in some ways, the biggest moment. Because that to me told me, okay, this shows you the power of music, the power of music, the power of movements.
But it was really, 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 really powerful. The day I saw police on TV, I was minding my own business. And they're going, buckle up. And it's my, that's my nephew, man. Buckle up, buddy.
At this point in the season, I'm super hyped. Everything is going well. You know, the song is doing great things. It's seeping into the community. Now it's beyond that. The Columbus Blue Jackets are playing it. I'm at the stadium. They're honoring me on the screen. Mekka Don is here. Buckle up. They played it all throughout. The Columbus crew are playing the song and remixing it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is happening, right? And simultaneously, Ohio State is rolling. We're winning. We beat Indiana. We beat Penn State, which were the two toughest games remaining on our schedule that we thought before we got to the Team Up North game. So everything was going great. And then it happened, man. The clock hit 0, and I was just stunned. It almost felt like everything was falling apart. Because it's like, that's a game you're not supposed to lose. That's a game you couldn't lose. Now you're not going to the Big Ten championship game. So then you start wondering, like, bigger picture. What's going on with this program? What's going on with Ryan Day? Why can't we beat this team? Why did we even run that type of game plan? Is this the guy to lead our team moving forward? How did we fail these players like this?
Locker room after the loss to the team up north, it wasn't good. You know, a lot of guys rowdy, talking crazy. It was just bad. You know, there was a fight on the field. Dudes getting pepper sprayed. So it was a little bit tough.
Yeah, it was it's like a movie, man. There was all types of stuff happening throughout the locker room. You know, a lot of emotions.
I felt like I saw all of the success and kind of the prophecy of what Buckle Up was to be. I felt like it all came crashing down.
As soon as they lost, I was immediately concerned about what the aftermath would be.
He's had years of success, but unfortunately, when you talk about losing to that team up north 4 years in a row, that will get, those calls, those cat calls, so to speak, for you to get fired.
Ohio State would lose to Michigan for the 4th time in a row. Many were questioning the way forward for the Buckeyes. They say it's not about what happens to you, but how you respond. Another opportunity was created for the Buckeyes.
There was a small miracle that had happened. For the first time in history, we're now moving to a 12-team playoff. And it was pretty clear that Ohio State was going to be included in that 12-team playoff. There was pretty much no argument for us not to be included. So, as I mentioned, you have 3 goals at the beginning of the season. Beat the team up north, win the Big Ten championship, and then go win a national title. And that 3rd goal was all of a sudden back in the clear. And so after I got, through a few days and the sting of that loss and just how upset I was and all that type of stuff, I really started to kind of regroup for myself and realize, hold on, there's still a big goal to play for here. And then even for Buckle Up specifically, I was like, again, like I said, I didn't say this ride was going to be smooth. That's not, nobody guaranteed that. But there's still an opportunity here.
Some fans even turned their prayers up for Ryan Day.
But something magical happened the day we lost to Michigan. Something snapped in my head. I went from being angry with you to praying for you every day. To praying for you, because it was undeserved at that point for a human being to suffer through the kind of pain.
Mekka Don became very vocal about his confidence in the Buckeyes as they prepared for the playoffs, even making a legendary prediction 4 days before the playoffs began.
How far are the Buckeyes going? How far are the Buckeyes going? Where are they going to take it?
I'm taking Ohio State all the way, man. I think Ohio State plays Notre Dame in the national championship game.
Woo!
And I think that Ohio State wins that game. I think Ohio State actually wins that game by like 10, 14 points. I think their hardest game is going to be probably Oregon. I think they actually beat Texas, probably by a touchdown or so. And I think they go and win the whole thing, man. That's what I thought before the Michigan game. That Michigan game, believe it or not, I know for some people it changed their mind. For me, it did not. So I'm not going to move off of that just because of that game, especially when I understand the history and everything that goes into that game. So I'm staying with that prediction, man. Ohio State goes all the way. Buckle up, baby. A couple of days later, I'm in the Horseshoe, December 20th, the night before the Tennessee game.
Are we thinking another national title? What do you say?
I think we're on the road to it. What I thought before that game against the team up north, I still think we're one of the best teams in the country, and I think we handle business, and I think we run all the way to the national title.
Ohio State would beat Tennessee and Oregon in the Rose Bowl before heading to the Cotton Bowl.
And that's what I believed. It wasn't me just saying it because I was trying to make myself feel good. I actually truly believed that.
Beating Texas in the Cotton Bowl was fitting, and Jack Sawyer got his well-deserved hero moment.
Pressure comes. Sawyer knocked it out and picks it up. Jack Sawyer headed down the sidelines. Ohio State scoop and score and dagger.
Woo! I was so happy for Jack Sawyer because the moment that he was supposed to have against the team up north, when he made that interception, that was supposed to be his hero moment. And we didn't make it happen for him. He was able to create it on his own again, his own hero moment, and right off into the sunset. And the way that stadium, I had tears in my eyes, literal tears in my eyes when that play happened. Because it meant so much to me at the same time. It was, yes, we're gonna win the game. Yes, we're going to the national championship game. Buckle up, the prophecy has a chance to really materialize. So to see that happen was amazing. And then we went and celebrated with all the fans and stuff after the game. So that was just amazing. And we're going to the national championship game.
To his credit, by the way, before the CFP started, he went out and called it. He said it's going to be Ohio State and Notre Dame in the national championship game. He called it perfectly, and that's what happened. And that's the thing, like his faith his belief in this Ohio State team. I will admit mine was tested after the Michigan game, but Mekka had this thing throughout, and I don't know if it was divine intervention. I don't know if it was forecasting this, but the fact he had that kind of belief in Ohio State, which not a lot of people had after the Michigan game. He did it. He called it. He actually called Ohio State Notre Dame. I could have made a lot of money this year if I had listened to Mekka Don. I did not listen to him enough.
So I was able to take my son to the national championship game. And, you know, I had a number of events lined up. So the night before, I, was able to perform at the Ohio State Alumni's Welcome to Atlanta event. That was fun. A lot of former players came, and the Brutus and the cheerleaders came. That was great energy. Just getting Buckeye Nation excited out there. The day of the game, we actually hosted a pregame tailgate. Me, Troy Smith, Teddy Ginn, at Trap City Cafe, which is T.I., famous rapper, his spot. So that was fun, getting people energized. And but then there's time for the game. Going over to the stadium, the energy was so real. I mean, you're talking about two historically well-known and two of the top programs ever.
Come on, man, CC, national championship game. This is the finale. After this game, buckle up is gonna make sense. Buckle up.
We knew, it was pretty clear early on that Ohio State was the better team and that these guys were so focused all the way to the end. But before that, Jeremiah Smith, it's 3rd and 11, the play that's gonna go down in Ohio State and college football history.
Heavy pressure, Howard delivers downfield, and Smith, he's got it! Jeremiah Smith!
And Will Howard just drops a dime downfield to Jeremiah Smith, which really sealed the game. That clock hit 0 and that confetti started dropping, man. It was so emotional because there's so many things happening at one time. You have, and I believe in redemption, and Ryan Day, what he had gone through, getting death threats and, people taking it to that extreme, and seeing him be able to get his redemption, that was amazing. Seeing the redemption for a lot of these young players who put their heart and soul into this. I don't think people realize how much they put their heart and soul into this. Their bodies, they put their bodies on the line. 16 games, this isn't the NFL. And they're putting their bodies on the line and dealing with ridicule and dealing with fans and dealing with, social media. And they're young. These kids are 19, 20, 21.
The Buckeyes would go on to win the national championship, cementing the legacy of Buckle Up.
Seeing the prophecy of Buckle Up come to fruition. What I predicted, it was predictive that was gonna happen, actually happened. What it ultimately means to just stay faithful, and believe, and how powerful that is.
The media would go on to call Mekka Don a good luck charm for the Buckeyes.
And we were thinking, could this be the anthem? Could this be the time? Could this potentially be the good luck charm for another run to a national title?
It was another fire hit. Mekka Don coming with nothing but fire. He came with the juice hit. And then I didn't realize every time Mekka Don makes a song, we win a national championship.
I don't know. But I think it's a cool thing, right? I'd rather have them say that than say the other thing, like, you're unlucky, bro, get away from this program, you know what I mean? So, so I'll take it, I'll take it. I do know that I've always kind of put out positive energy for the Buckeyes. And anybody that knows me and that's followed me, I think would support that.
Either way, greatness had been cemented. And along the way, Mekka Don had always paid it forward, dedicating his time to the youth. Charity and other noble causes was always part of the responsibility he felt.
I'm involved in so many different projects here in Columbus, and most of them that have to do with charity and raising money for cancer. Whenever I ask Mekka Don to help with any type of charity, to help raise money for this cause, he's there.
Mekka Don's talents have drawn the recognition and respect of several of hip-hop's legends, including Chuck D, T.I., and Scarface. And a few years ago, he became business partners with Pro Football Hall of Famer Cris Carter.
Buckle Up represents promise. It represents hope, what's possible, inspiration. Telling yourself what's gonna happen before it happens and believing that.
2024 Buckeyes will be remembered as one of the greatest teams to ever play, greatest run in college football history, and just a testament of being thrown into the fire and coming back out on top.
I would say we'll be remembered as a team that faced the most adversity, heard the most noise, silenced the noise, and you know, like I said before, it was still one of the best teams in college football history. So I think that's how we should be remembered.
This story is about faith. The story is about family, brotherhood. It's about what's possible when you believe, when you persevere, when you decide that even if you're fearful or you have doubt, that there's a stronger force at play, so long as you stay faithful. And it's not over till it's over.
As for what's next for Mekka Don, I think you better
Buckle up.
Buckle up, oh, we outside.
Make sure you head to Amazon.com and cop my new book, Buckle Up the Playbook, with a foreword by the legend Gene Smith.
Yo, Mekka Don, I was gonna wear the shirt, but this extra large ain't rarely extra large for me. My friend Angel said you could see my belly button. So you know what I'm saying? Buckle up, you feel me? But it's too small. Okay, bye.